Man, y'all know the face, y'all know the name, man. Y'all tuned into the world's greatest podcast. I know y'all probably so sick of me saying it, but I believe it. So I'm going to keep on saying it until someone can prove me and tell me otherwise. Y'all tuned in to Talk Ain't Cheap podcast. I got a special guest with me, 5 years older than me. I ain't want to tell him his age, but he's 5 years older than me. I'm not going to do too much introducing. You know I don't do that. That's against my mojo. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Psst.
Oh, my fault. I got to switch over. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jeffrey Derose. I'm the founder of Startup Advisory Group, and it's definitely a pleasure to be on the Talk Ain't Cheap podcast.
Thank you so much, man. So for those who don't know, what is the Startup Advisory Group?
So Startup Advisory Group, you could look at us as a startup ecosystem.
Okay.
You know, kind of what we're doing, there's two aspects to us. There's what we're doing on the community side. Mm-hmm. And we founded the podcast to help minorities and women get more involved in tech, entrepreneurship, and investing. You know, there's so much going on in those areas that we're not taking a part in. And it's really not because no one wants to give us access or people are trying to keep us out. It's just more so like we don't have access to information. We don't have access to certain knowledge. We don't have access to certain networks, you know. A really hot topic right now is, you know, the boom of venture capital and, you know, all these people making so much money and, like, you know, minorities and women just have such a low representation. I don't have the statistics, but it might be like something like less than 5%.
Yep, it's like, yeah, I think, you know, like, yeah,
goes to minorities. And I meet VCs all the time. I have a crazy Rolex of VCs, and for them, you know, it's not that like, hey, I don't want to invest in black people. It's like I literally meet no black people. I literally meet no black entrepreneurs of caliber. You know, so it's just like, how do we get like some of our best and brightest entrepreneurs in the room with them? That's like on the VC side of things. On the tech side of things, once again, you know, people are out there building scalable businesses. You know, like look at something like Airbnb. They own no property, but they're like the largest, like, you know, like the biggest hotel in the world, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, why aren't we doing that? You know, like us as black people, you know, we're even poorer than the people who are like launching these products. So it's like we can get, you know, we'll be more creative, right? Because we're so hungry and we're so desperate to figure out a way. Like, you know, like we'll probably make bigger and better things. Like, you know, just breaking down the stigma around technology and coding. And so, you know, we're tackling the goal of getting minorities and women more involved in tech, entrepreneurship, and investing through curated events, curated content, and just really building a leverageable business network. You know, myself, I'm actually like literally a walking ecosystem. I have a Rolodex of like lawyers, accountants, investors, real estate people, you know, all kind of things. You know, I'm even my company, I'm at a point where I'm engaging like, which is really crazy and surreal, but like I'm actually engaging like multi-billion-dollar corporations.
Wow.
You know, nothing is finalized. Yes, I don't want to speak too much on that, but it's just like, you know, so yeah, it's just really about just helping create, you know, more wealth in our communities, building generational wealth. And, you know, there's just this huge boom going on that we're not taking part in, and we should, you know. And on the other side, how we generate money, obviously we generate money through events, but we also provide business services. So I do like PR, business development, digital strategy, web and app development, and a couple different services to help you get your business off the ground. You know, so if you have an app idea and you have a bag, you could literally just come to me and your app will be done.
Really?
Yeah.
When did you learn how to do all these things? Like, where did you become this? Because I remember you from high school, mm-hmm. and you were older than me. You was around, but like, you know, you kind of just had your friend groups and you was doing your thing. But now you're like this tech ecosystem incubator, creative individual that's navigating spaces that really, like you said, is foreign to people of color.
Yeah.
So where did that come from? How did you get into this?
Yeah. You know, so I have an interesting background. I think the first thing is that I'm a very curious person and I'm not afraid of knowledge. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not afraid of seeking out knowledge. I'd rather sit down and watch a documentary and read a book. I don't do too much reading anymore. When I was younger, I did a lot of reading, watched a lot of documentaries, or just like almost any kind of content that I'm consuming, I gotta be learning from it in some kind of capacity, or I don't even want to engage with the content. You know, so that's been me from when I was young. I remember like my sister said this about me. I remember being 15 years old and going to the library, and I myself am organically picking up business books. You know, she was like, no 15-year-old is going and buying business books. You know, so that's just always been me. I'm just hungry for information, hungry for knowledge. In my early years, when we were in high school, I was huge on like self-development books and like Tony Robbins and Habits of Highly Successful People, like all those kind of things. I did a lot of studying of that stuff. And then the other thing that I was really big on studying was just successful people. If you were successful, I wanted to know everything about you, your upbringing, how you ran your business, why you became successful. It's not always business owners, even like athletes, musicians. If you were successful, I wanted to know what made you successful. I wanted to know your path, your journey. So I did a lot of studying of just successful people, a lot of like self-improvement. So when you're just studying so much successful people, you're just learning about what they do, and you also realize that it's not rocket science, and I'm studying people from finance to business to technology to music to even like some of my favorite people in music aren't even musicians. Like, if I seen someone like, I don't even know,
like Arnold Taylor, who's the manager of the Baby or somebody,
like something like that. But even bigger, like I'm a huge fan of Steve Stout.
Oh yeah.
Like like I might see I'm trying to think of an artist, like I might see someone like French Montana or Fabulous on the street. I wouldn't care to go get an autograph. I seen Steve Stout, I'm running down on that man. I'm gonna be a fan. Like,
nah, I get that.
So yeah, just studying successful people. And then just forwarding it a little bit more, in high school I was in the National Academy of Finance. I did very well in there. So I was like kind of a finance guy. I worked at a hedge fund. I worked in wealth management. I'm 30 years old with almost like over 10 years of experience in finance. But I started my finance career like literally 18 years old. I remember like, my senior year of high school, like, you just you're in school to maybe like 11 or 12 o'clock. I had a little part-time job in the city, like, doing cold calling, for a finance company. And then I became like maybe around 2021, I got my stockbroker's license. I was 20 years old with a stockbroker's license. Like you don't see that even with white people.
Nah, that's right.
So I'm just a person once again, but all that comes from just being hungry for information and exposing myself to successful people. I may not be interacting with them, but I'm reading their books, I'm watching documentaries about them, and then, I just knew that, like, hey, like, to become a stockbroker, all you gotta do is take a test. Sometimes people will think, like, you gotta be this, that, you gotta be a stock market wizard, you gotta have a 4-year degree, but it's like, no, you just take a test and pitch some stock. I took a test, and I became a stockbroker. Granted, you gotta get hired by a firm to do that, and I did get hired. I got hired as a cold caller. I got some experience. They liked me, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna get you licensed." And it's love, and I still have a great relationship with them. Shout out to Chelsea Financial Services, a great financial advisory group on Staten Island. It showed me a lot of love, and those are people who raised me. If you see who I am today, a lot of that has to do with my experience at Chelsea Financial. Fast forward time a little bit, I worked at a hedge fund. I had an investment newsletter. And I was a hardcore finance guy, investment research. I was investing in companies. I was doing very well in the stock market. I wasn't rich though. I'm a person playing with like $1,000, $500 in the stock market, but it's in the learning stage. It's not really about how much money you made. It's actually just more so about like creating a process that, hey, like I can go and take this approach and constantly be profitable in the market. And then you scale that financially, So I wasn't making crazy money, but I was I created a process that I could just go in, look for certain criteria, make the investment, and then I maybe had like a 70% win rate. But I might have only been doing like 7 investments for the year, so I'm not doing a bazillion trades, a bazillion investments. I'm very meticulous, very deep research. I'm reading the annual reports. I'll find a company, I'll read their last 3 to 5 years of annual reports. I'll read their, quarterly reports, and then I'm researching their competitors before I get to that investment decision. So I'm just only saying that to say I was extremely meticulous when it came to investing. And part of also why I did well in the stock market is just, once again, I studied successful people. Before I started investing, I would research who were the greatest investors of all time, and I bought all their books.
Jesus.
Once again, this is me at like 17, 18, 19 years old doing these things. So that's why you see how's he 20 years old and he's a stockbroker? That's, you feel me?
Where did this passion come from?
I'm just huge on self-education. Even before I was aware of my desire for self-education.
That curiosity was just always there.
Yeah, and I'm just the kind of person, I feel like, we're in a system, and I feel like I understood the system at a very early age. And I just always had the mindset that, like, I don't need to go to 4 years of college to learn something. Like, anything I want to learn, I can learn it in a book.
And it's crazy. There's 2 gems I'm gonna drop. I always say that the number one religion of the United States is capitalism. Yes. So when you said that you understood the system, you understand that money runs the world and money makes things go around. So that's awesome that you noticed that. 2, that's one of the biggest things on terms of books. The biggest issues within our community sometimes falls in the fact that the lack of knowledge, like you said, is in books. They always say that if you want to stop a black person from learning something or finding out something, put it in a book.
Damn. Well, I am the complete opposite of that. And what's another thing too? Me and one of my friends, the joke is that, like, we will be buying books for like 30 cents, $1, $2 on Amazon. And, we'll be like, yo, these are books that the information that we're getting out of it, like, we could become billionaires. Could you imagine that? Like, you're spending a total of $20 on books, and, you're getting all the tools and knowledge and resources you need to become financially successful, But people don't want to read, and we're really brainwashed into not reading, and people are intimidated by reading, and reading is corny, and reading is whack, and, nerds are lame, and this, that, and the third, and, so we just have a lot of stigmas, but, I feel like for us as people of color, sometimes we realize the power of knowledge too late. And in my case, I realized the power of knowledge very early in life.
That's awesome. So that's awesome, because you know what? The reason why I say that is because even now where I'm at, I kind of told you that I want to go, because I'm considering going to go pursue my PhD. And the reason why is, even as a child, I looked at it like education is the key to success. And I actually had a black on some young man in my store yesterday because he gave me a bullshit excuse of why he didn't want to go to school, or why he didn't go to school, yet he was going to pick up his little sister from the school bus. Mm-hmm. And it worries me, because it's like people don't understand that even now, and this is probably going to be one of my thesis topics. And shout out to my OG, Dr. Owens, my scholar OG. Thank you so much.
Shout out Dr. Owens.
OG. His dissertation spoke about how whenever there's the most like corruption and disruption in society, that is probably the most communication that is available. So what that means is, let's say that the world is going crazy. What's going on in society is they'll throw as much communication information out towards you. just random communication, the most during hard times rather than good times.
That makes sense. I mean, that's the system, distraction.
There you go.
Yeah. I know I'm talking about my background. I just got to give a shout out to my parents. I know a lot of us people of color, especially, I'm a Haitian immigrant.
Shout out to the Zoes, man.
So I just sometimes have an outside perspective on African Americans, like, who are born here and raised here. And it's like, a lot of y'all have not been spanked for not reading the book your dad got you from the library, and it shows. Like, I remember growing up, like, in the summertime, my dad bought like a math computer program. Like, if I did not do my math every day, I was really getting spanked.
Yeah, I hear that.
Like, I'm sure you had to, because
My mom, shout out to my queen, man.
Yeah.
CEO, founder of Peace International Market on 3240 Richmond Terrace. The only black-owned woman-owned deli on Staten Island. One of them.
I gotta pull up.
We here. We outside. We be outside with it. My mother, I remember as a child, she used to get really mad at me about my handwriting. And she'd make me rewrite my homework, and we stayed up to like 4 a.m. She had a belt, like she didn't have a belt, but she definitely had like a belt or something on her hand, and I was really crying rewriting my work. But it's that discipline and that importance that no matter what, no matter how much money you got, as much success you have, the only thing that no one could take from you is your knowledge and your education.
Oh my God, my dad has a great quote. He always used to say to me, no matter how poor you are, if you have something in your brain, you'll be good. You may not have money or nothing today, but if you got something in your brain, you're someone of value. Like, opportunities will come, and like that's just really what it is. So And maybe that's another thing too, that like I got to make that a part of like my mission in my work, is really like just spreading the importance of like, I'm not a person who really believes in the system. Like, I'm a very brilliant guy. I barely graduated college. I graduated high school with like a 2.7 GPA. But if you interact with me, you think I'm a scholar and like a 4.0. And I am that caliber of a person. I just don't care for schoolwork, So yeah, man, knowledge is power. Maybe that's the thing, like, just talking to more young people and just telling them like, yo, get that knowledge. Like, there's nothing more valuable than knowledge. And knowledge is cheap. You can go on Amazon. I remember like one of the best books I read is Snowball by Warren Buffett.
Okay.
When you read that book, it makes sense why Warren Buffett is a billionaire and like one of the most successful business people in the world. And when you read that book, so you realize that all the things he did, you can do it too. So yeah, and I bring that book up. Like, I bought that book for $1 at a like a book fair or some shit.
And it added in your opinion, how much value did it add to you?
I don't know. Now I don't even think you can put a price tag on it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, you see where I'm at today. I'm independent. I make the same or more as other people. So.
And make more than people's parents. Let's not be too freaking humble.
Yeah.
You do well for yourself. And there's nothing. And that's another thing I actually want to touch on. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your success, because that's the problem I feel like sometimes in our community that we have. Like, my mom recently is a part owner or bought the building that our store is now in, right? That's huge. One, because of the value of what it costs, but also because the fact that she's an owner in the community. And it goes deeper as like the socio-economic aspect of it and the social-emotional aspect of it. Like, just being a black woman in the harbor, for some people, especially at the corner of South and Richmond Terrace, at a time that area basically began what was like the prostitute row.
Oh wow!
You forget about that. That from walking down the terrace past the Harbor Road that's where all the prostitutes used to be at.
Yeah, I didn't even know that even existed. But I grew up very sheltered, and once again, my parents. I was not allowed outside. Not like strict like that, but like like I wasn't allowed to hang out in certain neighborhoods. I wasn't allowed to hang around certain people. It
makes sense when you now look at life as an adult.
Yo, that's a fact. I remember, like, what's so fun? I remember, like, when I was in high school, ish, and we used to do a lot of running around in Park Hill and Stapleton. And one of our friends' mom was like, yo, why y'all going to Park Hill so late? And we would be like, yo, we lit. Nah, I'm as an adult, I was like, I have my little sister. Like, no. Like,
you not go to LIB town. I won't let you.
I mean, and don't get it twisted though. Like, if you have friends or family, that's different. You feel me? Like, I have friends in the projects. I go see them all the time. But am I just chilling on the block?
Never.
Or just, what I'm saying? Like, so it ain't nothing wrong with somebody living in poverty or whatever. And like, you go in to check them, or like, I have nothing against somebody. You feel me? I hang out with the most successful people financially and some of the least successful. And I was one of the least successful. I've been so broke for so long, But true. I've been on a different path, So just like, I just want to throw that out there. Like, no bias against anybody living in the hood. Like, if you're good people, I'm going to hang out with you. I'm going to chill you. I'm going to come check you. Like, no matter where you at.
The hood is an incubator in itself. Most of the most talented people come out of the hood because you're given limited resources and you do a lot with it.
Yo, wasn't I just saying that in the beginning with the whole tech thing? Like, like we're really, like we're so hungry and so back against the wall. If we had the knowledge of technology and how to write a computer program and this, that, and the third, like, I mean, just starting a web development business, you could really be in the hood and then just like, you're doing $5,000-$10,000 a month just building plain Jane websites. That is nothing sophisticated. That is nothing you need to go and get a master's degree in computer science for. You could really, like, I actually became a full stack web developer in like 2 months, like 60 days. I took an online course. But once again, that's just me. Like, like I was starting my master's in computer science and I'm just like, this is just going so slow. Like, I need to get to the bag. And I was just like, yo, let me just take this online course. I learned how to, I learned so much from online courses inside of like 6 to 9 months versus like the whole maybe like 4 to 6 years of school you got to go and take.
Understood. I think the difference between the two is with the online courses, you're getting just the meat and potatoes of what you need, versus when you're in these spaces, you're learning the other social stuff that go around with the education.
Yeah, and that's
the networks
true
as well.
And I'm not discrediting that, but I'm also just saying that like you can do both.
Yeah.
I was going to school and doing online courses.
Oh, I'm fumbling in my own podcast. Apologize. But no, most definitely. So that's a great segue. So you said that you have a lot of people that you're attached to or associate with that are in great positions as if they're super successful, and then some that are in not so great positions. How did you connect with a lot of those venture capitalists and a lot of those people in those spaces? Because like I said, you're really like the black face and the white space in a lot of these places, as well as even in comparison to your experiences and your finances. It kind of is not comparable. So how do you get into those spaces? How did you stay in the spaces? And how do you navigate through those spaces?
The real truth is that there are so many. Like, I do events. Like, you could just hop on Eventbrite and just search investor event, search venture capital events, and just pull up. That's all I did. I didn't do nothing special. I just started going to the events and meeting people. That there is no rocket science. It's just literally like, but I think it's just a real thing. And even paying to go to events, but not paying a lot of money. Like, like a lot of people won't pay $15, $20 to go to an event where you just meet high quality business people, but you'll spend $50 to go to the club. You'll spend $50 and spend another $100 or even $500 in the club. Like, but like that $15 to go to this business event, like, nah, I ain't doing it. So it's just, I think it's just like the way we're hardwired mentally and like what we associate with, whatever. But that's all I did. I just researched events and just started going. And I'm also going to tell the truth. Well, let's just backtrack a little bit. There is an element that I really come from the finance space, and I'm a hardcore finance guy. So I just started going to finance events because there was a point where I was working at the hedge fund and actually was just feeling extremely lonely. And I just needed, and I've always had my friends, but it's just like, it was a crazy schedule. I'm up at 5 a.m. to be at the office for 7. I don't leave the office until about 6, 7 o'clock. And then I got to go home and do research until about 10, 11 o'clock. And it also was like just a very rough time because working as a day trader is very intense emotionally and psychologically. So I also wasn't getting sleep because it was just, it was just crazy. Like, so I'm really not even sleeping until like 12, 1 o'clock. And then I'm up again at 5 o'clock. Like, so it was just, you feel me? Like, granted, I had my friends and my family, but in my world, I was super lonely. So I just started going to events just to start meeting people. And I was just like, I don't know. I'm just really about the bag. So I want to hang around people who got money.
That's real.
I want to meet people who got bigger money than me and how they do it. And, so that's just where it started from. But, it's no rocket science. It's just going online, going on Eventbrite, going on Meetup and joining groups. Anybody that wants to, if you're in New York City and you want to get involved with investors, there is the Alternative Investment Club of New York. Google it. It's like AICNY, or just search Alternative Investment Club of New York. It was started and ran by a black person. But you could go to his meetings. He has investor meetings every Tuesday at the 40/40 Club, where you can just go, network with investors, network with entrepreneurs, and it's a safe space for people of color, I feel like, because it is black owned and black ran, and he is also the largest investment club in New York, and he was featured in the Wall Street Journal, and this is something he only started 3 years ago.
What?
Crazy, right? He just started something 3 years ago. I think he had a little bit of a network, but he just said, hey, I'm going to get people together, we're going to pitch at the 40/40 Club, and whoever wants to come. And he just grew that and grew a meetup group. And like, I think like if you go on Meetup, like he has like 5,000 members. Like, his network, I remember overhearing him having a conversation. He put like 3 or 4 business cards on the table. He was like, these 3 people, this is like $500 million right here. That's crazy. And this is a black guy. And he's from Queensbridge Projects. Like he's not, you know what I mean? Like,
he
he's
came from
us.
the mud, yeah.
He's us. He went to school, got his degree, and I remember his work ethic is insane too. I don't even want to segue into this guy, but people need to know people like this exist. Like, he's a person who he's running his meetup every Tuesday. He does not miss a Tuesday. I mean, even like I remember one year he did it on Valentine's Day. You know, like he's committed. Like he ain't worried about chicks. He ain't worried about parties. He ain't worried about holidays. He just, you feel me?
Worried about what he got going on.
And then he's doing that. And then on top of that, he's a person who, like, he has other business ventures. And like he's literally at the Harvard Club in the city, just pitching and cold calling all day. Well, maybe not so much anymore because he's in a different place and he's accomplished a lot of things. So he don't got to do those things anymore. But I'm just saying, like, his grind and his work ethic in the beginning, insane.
You know what? That's interesting that you say that, because what I respect about that conversation is that he's somebody you aspire to be. It's like someone that you read up on him, you respect his talent. And a lot of people in our community, sometimes I feel like they don't respect that. Like they can't see somebody winning and respect that they're winning and respect the process of of how they win and what they can learn from that win. Whereas with you can do that. You can see like where he's went the right way and how he's been able to build that so fast and not hate on him for that.
Yo, I big him up. You know, sometimes, I mean, just keeping it real, because I'm sometimes not the best at keeping up with people. Sometimes I don't even know if people like fuck with me like that. You know?
I felt the same way.
You know, and not that me and him have an issue, but like I don't speak to him, I don't hang out with him, I don't, you know, but like I have so much regard for him. So much. He doesn't even know I have this much regard for him. I be telling him about recently I became a member. You know, I've been struggling financially, so being able to pay the dues and become a member of his investment club was just like, you know, I sent them an email like, you know, this isn't even really about all the benefits. Like I actually just am happy I'm at a financial place where I can support you and your organization and have so much respect for you. Like, you know,
that's real.
So it's just like, that's me. Even there's people who don't like me, and like you know, people got funny energy or whatever. But if you're someone doing amazing things, I want to learn from you, and I'm gonna big you up. I don't know. But I'm solid. When people can't act like that because they're not solid in self, I am super solid in self. Super solid in self. Ain't nothing that another man gonna have that I'm gonna feel bad about myself. Ain't no success that another man gonna have that I'm gonna feel like I'm less than. You know, like,
how'd you develop that?
You know, the real truth, this is like another segue. I'm low key like a Buddhist. Like I really studied and practiced Zen Buddhism. So a lot of the ways that I'm maneuvering in this world, like I'm truly a man that wants from nothing. You know, there's a teaching in Zen Buddhism, like the root of all misery is want. You know, he got this job that I want. Now I'm upset internally. He got some fly kicks that I don't have. Now I'm upset internally. You know, like I didn't make the kind of money I want to make. Now I'm upset internally. I didn't bag that chick, or I bagged that chick, but I ain't smashing. Like, you know, so like a lot of the things that we're upset about is just that things we didn't get what we wanted. So if you could get to a place where you are genuinely want for nothing, I don't know. Like I'm a person like. I mean, granted, I'm in a place now where I'm doing a lot better, but I was so broke 6-7 months ago. As in, like, I mean, I'll just put out the numbers so people know. I think it's important people to know. Like, I mean, granted, I'm independent and I'm hustling, you know, and I'm building. You know, I'm a person sometimes making like $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. Like, and I'm not making money. I'm super broke, and I have bills, like, you know, and I have people that I'm paying, and like, you know, like. Just sometimes I don't even have $40, and there's so many birthdays and trips and just even outing. People like Jeff don't pop out, Jeff acting brand new. It's like, yo, I literally have $30 to my name right now, and I don't know when I'm getting bread again because I'm really on this entrepreneur life and I don't work a job, you know. So I said to say, like, in that moment, I still feel like I live the greatest life.
Yes, sir.
You know, like, I mean, I have it financially, but I mean, granted,
You're fulfilled.
Yeah, I'm fulfilled. You know, I do great work, but also too, I know the road that I'm on, and it's just a different road. Like, you know, like once again, I study successful people. Almost anyone outside of like people who's like inherited wealth or something like that, anyone who is successful independently went through a struggle phase. You know, and so I wasn't afraid. You know, I was accepting of the struggle phase. Like, you know, you're just gonna be broke, but it's okay. But I'm also a person who gets a lot of love. You know, like I'm still lit with the chicks. Still, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so the only thing that was just lacking, like, I have everything but money. But money's gonna come. And money has come. You know? So, I don't know, like I feel like all these things really just ties back to like me studying Zen Buddhism and like really getting into that and doing the meditation and just learning the teachings. And for anyone that wants to get into it, Zen Buddhism is not conflicting with any religion. It's actually just a bunch of principles just for you to live by. It's not about worshiping a god or reading a Bible. It's just like, you know, like the teaching about, like that was a huge breakthrough for me when I started, like when I learned that and I started putting that into practice and learning that, like, you know, and like, you know, and I'm free, you know, I'm free from wanting, like, you know, and even things like, you know, having to get fly. Like, I mean, I'm always going to be like a well-dressed person. I'm always going to be decent, like, you know, but I didn't go clothes shopping. I didn't do, but I also realized, you know, like me buying no clothes and not getting fresh and this, that, and the third, like I'm still getting chicks. I mean, I'm in a relationship now, so, you know, I'm not even on that kind of time, but like before, you know, like I'm still lit. You know, I'm still like, I don't know, like I'm still moving. We still outside. Like, you know, I don't have no money, but I get a lot of love. So like, I don't know. I just been surviving off love. Like, you know, as long as I got love, I got family. And also the nature of what I do is very fulfilling. I love working with entrepreneurs. I love working with businesses. I love educating people. I love spreading knowledge. So it's like, I might be broke, but it's just like, I got all this. And there's so many people like, you know, they're working at 9 to 5s, making good money, making big money, having big titles and whatever. And they're miserable and they're not happy. And it's just like, I'm a slave to the 9 to 5. And like, you know, so I don't know, like Zen Buddhism just like overall like really impacted me, and that's why I could like want for nothing and not care for anything, and not care for anything in a bad sense, but like I don't know, like I'm a person that I look at my family, my friends, my shorty, like I'm good.
So the money's just a plus.
The money's just a plus. That's another thing too. Anyone that's on the entrepreneur route, it's not easy, but like as long as you got a roof over your head and food on the table, you are good. And that's something, but you know, I come from Haitian immigrants, so like, you know, like a lot of people have not been spanked for being a spoiled brat, and it shows. Like, you know, like I was not allowed to be spoiled. My dad was just like, my dad used to say things to me like, if it wasn't for your mother, we'll be buying shoes at Payless.
That's real.
You know,
that's not.
But me as an adult, I get it now. You know, like you're really giving Jordans $200, but you can't pay your bills.
Yeah.
You know, I remember growing up. I mean, when my parents came here, dirt poor, so poor, my dad was one of the illegal cab drivers in front of Pathmark. There ain't no money in that. And you're not even a real cab driver. You're an illegal cab driver. You know, so he's a person who really came out the mud. And I forgot why I was bringing this up. I'm bringing this up because
you guys came a long way.
Yeah.
And y'all hustled. And because I also had, like, this goes back to reference, shout out to my bro Bengali. He was on episode, I want to say 27 to 28. And he spoke about giving thanks, being grateful for his situation because he was homeless. Even while we was in college, like I'm in college with my bro. He coming back from his dorm room to go stay in a shelter. That's
crazy.
And to go back to being from an immigrant background, it's something like that's innately like about it's like my, and shout out to my other OG, Dr. Kush K. Boardwash. He even said, he's like, yo, there's some people who kill and there's other people that's gonna be killed. Mm-hmm. And he's like, when you come from struggle, you have that killer mentality. Mm-hmm. And I think that speaks to volumes as to why you've been able to become so successful, because you were raised in an environment that one wasn't super solid, had a lot of love, but it was either kill or be killed, and you've seen it from just the work ethic of your parents, but as well as just what was going on around you.
Yeah. And another thing too, I come from granted, everyone came to this country and did better. Like my dad went from illegal cab driver to successful businessman. You know, I come from a very well-educated family. Mm-hmm. So we might be poor, but everyone is smart. Everybody doing something. And everybody came to this country and made a way for themselves. Like, you know, like my parents did well. My mother's brother did very well. My uncle's a doctor. My other uncle in Toronto run a big charity up in Toronto for like Haiti, like, you know, multi-million-dollar charity. Like just all of them. I had my cousin in Long Island, I had the crazy crib in Long Island, like, you know, but everyone who came from the mud. But, you know, once again, if you got something in your brain, it may not be today, might not be tomorrow, but the money will come, you know, because you are valuable in this world. So it's just knowledge is power.
So what is the legacy that you want to leave?
Yeah, so For me, what I would like my legacy to be is, I would love to wake up one day and say, hey, I helped create like 100,000 black entrepreneurs. I would love to wake up one day and say that, like, hey, like the stuff that I do helped impact millions of people around the world and help create generational wealth, help set people on the right track, and just, shifted the culture, shifted the mindset on a grand scale. Like have us going from investing in clothes to investing in knowledge. Because when you have the knowledge, you have the money, you could buy all the clothes.
No, it's true. You could buy. You could even low key. You could buy time. People don't even get that.
That's another big thing too. Time is the only luxury. Time and genuine family, and that's my core belief. Time and family and friends is the only true luxury in the world. Clothes is a fake luxury. Cars is a fake luxury. Diamonds, jewelry, watches, all these things can be replaced. All these things they might be expensive, but you cannot put a price on time. You cannot put a price on a loving and supportive family. You cannot put a price on loving and supportive friends. You can't put a price on having a woman. One of the reasons why I was talking to my boys the other day, I feel like I've made so much progression in the last year is just that I'm focused on one woman. Just having that stability. Just like all I do is go to work and come home to shorty. I'm not chilling. I'm not partying.
It's crazy as hell that you say that.
It's real.
So monogamy does breed focus.
100%. But me also as an individual, I was never a womanizer. Like at one time, the most I was talking to was maybe 2 or 3 chicks. But that's one thing. My father, he's didn't grow up in this American culture. American culture is like fuck bitches, get money, and even older black men will tell you just fuck bitches and whatever. My dad was just women are a waste of time and don't spend your time with women. And he's telling me you going crazy with this woman, and as soon as she hangs up, she with the next person, or just teaching me don't ever live with a woman. Don't be the kind of guy who's making women buy you stuff. And so I think there's just and I also grew up in a married household. Not saying that their marriage was perfect, but I feel like out of my core friends, I might be the only person or 1 or 2 other people who grew up in a married household. And that's my dad. My dad just wakes up, goes to work, and comes home to his family.
And that's ironic to me because I feel like I agree completely, but I also feel the reason why that is why that's kind of a rarity now is because of technology. I feel like technology kind of enables behaviors that back then they could never have really done. Like if you was gonna cheat, but then you still with your wife, and your wife didn't really know, and if she knew, it wasn't like she was gonna connect the dots like that unless she followed you having to be there.
I disagree with that. Because just culturally, who's lit? The guy who gets all the chicks. Culturally, at least in black hip hop culture, urban culture, every guy's trying to smash as many girls as possible. And we don't realize that is a complete waste of time. But one thing I actually knew from early on, granted I have a shorty now, so I'm not even looking for that. But I was I don't want to be the guy chasing women. I want to be the guy that women chase. A lot of us see someone Fabulous and be yo, he got so many chicks and the baddest chicks in the city. Fabulous is not pursuing women. Women are pursuing him. Women are pursuing Drake. How do I get to a point where I'm so successful and desirable that I don't have to even chase women? Women chase me. So that's actually also been my mindset. I don't want to be the guy you're really spending time hitting people up and this, that, and the third and whatnot. It's all time. This is time you can spend on your business. It'll be time you could be learning something, researching,
Understood.
And it's also something else I feel a lot of people are doing so much chasing women because it's just insecurities, you're trying to compensate or whatever, but it's just I don't know, just being able to know hey, I'm just gonna go do my work and just come home. But on the flip side too, my girl wasn't a person who was supportive of entrepreneurship. She doesn't get it. It didn't make sense. What are you doing? You're so broke. Get a job. So it's not it was this easy peasy cakewalk. But for me, and it's not she was the person who was building up my business with me in any kind of capacity. But just for me personally, just be able to say hey, I'm gonna go do work and I have something to come home to. That's all I need.
For you.
Yeah.
Fair enough. How did you jump into the tech sector?
Yeah, so what got me involved in tech was a book. So actually, let me backtrack a little bit. So I was working at the hedge fund. Wasn't happy. It was a very hard point in life. And the hedge fund was an interesting situation. Like, at the hedge fund, I'm sitting next to people who's doing like $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month, $300,000 in a day, $500,000 a week, like on a consistent basis. There's even people there who they write computer programs that they just turn on every day, and they're doing $100,000 a month turning on a computer. That's crazy, right? So it's just a different environment, but it was a no salary environment. So it was just like, I was just shooting my shot. So I really didn't make much money there, but it was like, hey, you never know. You could be the guy making $100,000 a day. So when I was getting ready to leave the fund, I didn't know what to do. So my brother was in tech, and he was just always saying I was always in the mindset that I need to be making $10 million a year for me to be financially satisfied. And I really be you can make good money in tech but also have quality of life. And he was pushing me to get into tech. And I read this book called The Golden Age of the Moors, and I'm actually huge on history. I love studying empires, what made empires great, and I love studying empires, and I love studying war history. And the two things that I learned, any empire that was a great and dominant empire, from the Greeks, Egyptians, Mongolians, Genghis Khan and them, Chinese empires, whatever, Islamic empires, Middle Eastern empires, and even today, the U.S. and Israel. The common factor is each empire is the most advanced society in science and mathematics. And with that, if you're the most advanced in science and mathematics, that means you're going to have the most advanced war technology, and that's why you could go out and dominate. So when I had that knowledge, and I read about the book called The Golden Age of the Moors, and just learning how the year 700 AD, they invaded and conquered Spain for 700 years. And which is interesting, the downfall of the empire was actually the same year or the same time frame of when Christopher Columbus came to America. So they dominated from 700 to 1400. They dominated Europe. And dominating Europe pretty much means you dominate the world, And they were the most advanced society in science and mathematics. They helped pull Europe out of the Dark Ages. Some of the greatest mathematicians and scientists of that era, of that maybe couple hundred years, actually, they don't tell you this in school, but they went to Moorish universities in North Africa to study and came back with math and new science and this, that, and the third. So I was just us as black people, if we really want to advance, if we want to be great when we were kings and queens, it's not about getting fly. It's about science and mathematics. And that's when I just got into tech, and the rest is history. But literally, that book just cracked open my brain. And also, which is crazy, that is a $200 book on Amazon. So that just also tells you that there is really knowledge in that book that is so valuable. That a white man will pay $200 to learn about your history. You wouldn't even think. I mean, not you, but in general, people wouldn't even spend $50 on a book to learn about their history. Yeah. So that's really where it started for me, and what kicked it off for me, and yeah.
So this is crazy. We tuned in talking cheap. This is probably the most interruptions. That's how I know we both really super busy.
Yeah.
That's how I know we both super busy. But Startup Advisory Group, what's the goals? What's the trajectory for the rest of the year?
So people always ask me that question, and I actually don't operate from that standpoint. And this is maybe just going back to the Zen Buddhist stuff. I actually don't focus on the end results. I actually just focus on waking up every day and doing the work. And I just believe that if I'm putting my best foot forward on a consistent basis, and I'm doing what I need to do, whatever results I'm going to get are going to be the results I'm going to get. So I actually just focus on being consistent and putting in hard work. I don't really put in tangible goals. I don't say hey, I want 5 sales for the month or anything. If I need to ramp up sales, I know that the process of getting sales is hitting the networking events every night, following up, being on with the clients, and you feel me? So that's kind of the approach that I take. I don't really take the approach of just saying like I got to reach certain goals or targets. I just take the approach of like I'm just gonna like work hard and focus and execute, and then whatever comes from that, like this situation, like I could have never said that like, hey, in 6 months I want to be running a tech incubator, but I keep networking, I keep meeting people, I keep following up, and opportunities present themselves. So that's kind of the approach that I take.
So what would you say is your end goal then? I mean, we spoke about your legacy, but the end goal.
Yeah, I mean, the end goal is just to impact and help get people out of poverty. All right, so there's some bigger initiatives that I'm working on. One big initiative is helping connect more Black entrepreneurs with VCs. So like I'm doing that through events as you've attended. The other big goal is I'm working on a tech coalition. So once again, this is why I'm engaging some of the bigger corporations, because I'm trying to get a coding school sponsored for just minorities. Actually, our age. I'm not even looking for the kids. Like people our age, 20 to 35 years old, low income, living in poverty, but you want a way out. So like, you could literally go to a coding school for 6 months and be making $90K a year. Like you could go to school for 4 years and make $60K a year. You could literally go to school for 6 months. You feel me? Someone who's making $20 an hour, even if you fall short and make $70K a year, to go from $20 an hour to $70K a year in 6 months, that's transformation. Now imagine doing that for 10,000 people. Now imagine that for 100,000 people. You know how much economic development, how many jobs will be created, how many, it's just a snowball effect, So like those are the two big goals, like getting this tech coalition going where like, I'm kind of being like a tech evangelist, just spreading the word of like getting into tech, learning how to code. Even if you don't know how to code, just being part of the tech ecosystem. Like, you could be, part of it just being on the winning team.
Yep.
Like Google hires marketing people. Every business hires marketing people, operations people, secretaries. So if you're just in this tech ecosystem, you're going to make money. Like you can get out of poverty. And the cool thing about tech as opposed to other industries, granted, like they do need to work on diversity, but it's not an industry where it's like, we're not letting you in because you're Black. Like finance is like that. Like, it's like at a certain level, like, like we're not going to give you access because you're Black. But like tech isn't like that. Like, tech is just like, if you want to come and code, if you want to come and learn, you want to come and build a business, like the resources are at your disposal. So it's also up to us to go and chase those opportunities. And I think the real problem, and this is like kind of like what Startup Advisory Group is becoming a conduit of, there's people who really want to do more for Black communities. There's people who really want to do, there's people like, they're not opposed to Black, but, they just have no real connection to the Black community. Yeah. Like I was saying before, like I've met VCs who's like, I really want to invest more in Black people, but I literally don't meet any Black entrepreneurs.
So let me play devil's advocate. From what I've seen, right? Integration has never really been super beneficial for Black people. Now, having VCs who would be interested in investing in Black people, Black business and Black enterprise, do you truly believe that it's beneficial, and do you believe that it'd be a situation that is not gonna be like some of the past situations that you've heard about?
Yeah, I think one thing that everything is business, so past situations where people get the short end of the stick, it's, you agree to a bad business deal, like we see that in music a lot. And the real truth is that it is Black record executives who's raping Black artists. So that's just a byproduct of capitalism. So you got to learn your contracts. You got to know what you're signing. You got to know what you're agreeing to. You got to know what you're getting in bed with. But I do agree with you that like going to VCs is cool, but the cooler thing, we need our financially successful Black people to do that. I don't know what big time rapper that's making $50 million a year is investing in Black businesses, but they'll go and buy $2 million Bugattis, Birdman will buy a Bugatti every year, so the people that we have higher up also need to open up their mind that like, hey, like, if I invest in the people, that's why Silicon Valley works so well. They created a system of the people at the top invest, give mentorship and resources to the people at the bottom. We don't have that in the Black community. And that's also what I'm trying to facilitate and create that conduit and create that ecosystem of like, I might not be...
Group economics.
group economics. So I do agree with you. I'm not going to go as far as saying like getting VC money is bad for black people, but the better thing is black people investing in black people, because now a black person being taken out of poverty, a black person's income is rising, and then a black investor is making more money. Like, so, and when this black company is successful, he's going to go out and hire more black people, and like, so it's a snowball effect. So I do feel like us, working with our own is better for our community overall. But hey, if I'm working on a company and the people who's financially successful in my community doesn't care about what I'm doing, but this white guy thinks I have a great idea, is willing to give me $1 million, $500,000, like, hey, I gotta do what I gotta do,
What's a bad deal?
That's a very vague question. I think a bad deal is just a deal where you are not getting what you want, or you're getting the short end of the stick. Maybe you're putting in all this work that someone is just reaping all the benefits. It's hard to say what is concretely a bad deal, but I don't know. I think if you thoroughly read your contracts, you thoroughly read your agreements, you understand all the clauses, you understand how the money is breaking down, you understand how your brand is impacted and whatever, then, it's up to the person to say what a bad deal is, I cannot say what a bad deal is.
Understood. What has been your biggest failure in your pursuits thus far?
It's crazy. I don't even really believe in failure. It's just lessons.
Okay. Biggest lesson?
That's a good question. What is the biggest lesson? I don't know. I have to maybe think about that. I really can't even, because I have so many lessons and so many experiences and so many quote-unquote failures. I've been broke for the last 10 years. I'm a brilliant guy, hardworking guy. I've been broke for the last 10 years. So, but I don't know. What's interesting? Like, Startup Advisory Group has been a culmination of my failures, I was not successful in finance, but like I got so much knowledge and so much experience that I can talk the VC talk. I can, facilitate transactions, etc. I started a graphic design company with my friend Marcus. We started a graphic design company in a pop-up gallery. Like, that was not a financially successful venture, but I that was an opportunity for me to be a high-level decision maker, help build a brand and build an organization. Granted, we're not like this huge organization or anything, but, help keep it organized and got the ball rolling and this, that, and the third. What other experiences? And even just working with clients, I've definitely had like bad deals with clients, but I was a person who I'm thinking longer term. Sometimes you got to take less money to get to bigger money. I'm a person, I remember there was this lady I was working for. She was legit paying me like $1,000 a month. I was working 40, 60 hours a week for this lady. But the experience was amazing. She is probably the most successful person I've ever met, and she's a black woman. And yeah, like, I don't know, there's so many experiences that, like, I don't know, everything is a learning experience. Like, everything is a learning experience. I'm like a sponge, so there's just so many experiences. But yeah, I would say like maybe the biggest takeaway for me is just not sacrificing long-term gains for short-term wins.
I respect that.
So I struggled for a very long time, but now I'm a free man. I am, as a poor black man, I am a free man in this country. I mean, I'm getting to a point now where I have financial stability and stuff like that. But like, I don't know, being a free man in this country, like, I'd rather be free than caked up in a slave.
And are you speaking more mentally or societally or
mentally, societally, socially? Like, I'm a person that if I want to take a nap at 2:00 in the afternoon, I can take a nap. If I want to go hang out on a Tuesday night and go party, I could go do that. If I could do whatever I want to do. Can't nobody tell me nothing. I don't got to answer to nobody. I don't got to ask somebody for permission. Like, I don't know, even just like the whole like clocking in 9 to 5 is just like, for me, like, that's something I can't do. I'm a hard worker, but like, there's times where it's like, hey, there's nothing to do. Like, why am I clocking in? Like, why am I wasting my time here?
True. That's very true.
Like, I don't know. And wasting time is a huge pet peeve for me. Like, even if it's like 20 minutes wasted, I'm annoyed. I'm irritated. I don't want to be here.
Respect it. is there any advice that you have for somebody either in the startup space looking for VCs or interested in jumping into the world of venture capitalism, finance, advisory, consulting, etc., etc.? Any advice that you have to share?
Yeah, I would say the first piece of advice is just getting on the internet. You know, Google's a powerful thing. Just start reading and reaching. There is so much information that you could just go in and just start learning. Get books, research, study who have been the most successful in the space and what books have they read, what are their interviews, are there any documentaries that they have. You know, I would say that's a step one, just educating yourself. And then step two is just now getting involved in the space. It doesn't have to mean that you're going out and pitching investors. It could just mean just going out and just meeting them and just saying like, I want to learn about what you do. You know, that's how I met a lot of people. I just, you know, when I was first making my rounds at networking events, I was just saying like, hey, like I do so and so, but I just want to learn about you and how you got to where you are and what you do, and you know, and then they start talking and I start asking more questions, and so I would say that's, if you want to get into that space, just self-educate and meet people.
Most definitely. If somebody wanted to be get some of your services or be advised by your group, how could they go about doing so?
Yeah, damn, I didn't make my Google Voice number yet. I would get my phone. I would say, cause, you know, I'm kind of, I wouldn't say I'm an old school business kind of guy, but like I'm super like, just call me, just text me, like, you know, I'm very available to people. If someone wants help or advice, but you could go to startupadvisorygroup.co. It's not .com, and you could like fill out the little form, and I'll get an email saying that you want advice, and I'll follow up. If you know someone who knows me, just tell a person that you want to work on something, and you know, anyone who knows me knows that I'm super fit to help anybody. You know, so if you know someone that knows me, just reach out to them, and they'll put you in contact.
How do you set your pricing?
That's interesting. So I kind of set pricing based on who I'm dealing with, but I give a lot of free advice. I give a lot of free game. Like for people in our community, like I don't even, especially now that I'm at a place where I'm getting financially, I don't even care about the money. Like I more so care about you building generational wealth. You know, like spreading knowledge don't cost me nothing.
That's right.
Now, if I'm really like doing work, like building a website, building an app, building like, you know, doing a marketing campaign, that's different. But you could always just reach out to me and get some advice, get some game. Hey, Jeff, I'm working on this. What do you think? Oh, Jeff, I'm working on this deal. You think this? You think this is a good deal? Hey, Jeff, I'm super available, super accessible, and I also want to be that kind of successful person in our community, because like people who are super successful in our community are not accessible.
True.
And they're not available. Like I want to be accessible.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Most definitely. All right, cool. Let them people know out there where they can follow you at, stay in connection with you and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Startup Advisory Group on Instagram, Startup Advisory Group on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, Jeffrey Derose, Jeffrey, last name Derose. D as in David, EROS as in Sam, E.
You know what's ironic? I don't mean cut you up. Is that like a immigrant thing?
What?
Like having to spell out your name?
And yes. You know, sometimes I see S and people think it's F.
Yeah, I get it. Well, it's more like the westernized European. They don't have the gift of listening to accents that are not like.
Yeah.
Like black people actually have the gift of listening for accents.
Yeah, I would say immigrants, because I deal with a lot of like, you know, like American, African, and I hate to like differentiate the two, but I feel like sometimes culturally there really is a difference.
There is.
And like I have friends, like my parents talk, like it's like, yo, what the hell are they saying? It's like, listen, English. Like, you know, like just slow down and listen. Like, I don't know, that's just a very American thing that people don't care about other languages and stuff like that.
That's real.
You know,
that's
but
real.
Yeah. So, you know, anybody that needs to reach me can find me. I'm not a hard guy to find. We outside.
Hashtag Google member here.
Nula. That's Creole for we here.
Oh, shout out to my Zoes. Y'all gonna have a big...
fat.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. Y'all gonna have a big year coming up, 2020. Compo gonna go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, yo, he know, like, all I do is listen to Haitian music. Yo, it do go crazy. Yo, I'm telling you this now. We are potentially gonna be working on, like, I want to throw a bougie ass Haitian party.
Not one, I just got
No, yeah, we are going to, and I'm actually things are coming in, so like we're ready to start planning that.
I would love to be a part of it. Within any capacity.
For sure, you got to be a part of it because
I just love the culture. And the black rice go crazy. The black shout out to Soup Jumu.
Soup Jumu, bouillon.
I'm out here. So I'm into it. I'm getting into it. Shout out to my Zos playing on them too. But thank you so much for your time, bro. I know you could be doing a million different things, and I hope this was a great episode for you. Even despite all the little distractions we had today.
Nah, I mean, not to cut you off. Nothing is more important than helping our community. The most powerful thing we could do for our community is just spreading knowledge and information.
That's
so,
bro.
For me, this is top of my list today.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you. Man, y'all know the face, y'all know the name. Y'all was tuned into the world's greatest podcast, Talk Ain't Cheap. Y'all know the slogan. It's usually not that deep. It's a vibe.